Welcome back to the gun dungeon, guys, and we have a pistol optic review here today. This is the NiteWing SPO320, and who better to review a pistol optic than the guy who has openly expressed that he does not like to use them. I'm going to admit, this one brings some features to the table that I like, and I'm probably going to leave it on this pistol. So there you go. I just ruined the spoiler. I like it. So let's talk about it a little bit. What are those features that this brings to the table? One was one of the very first things that I noticed about it when I got it out of the box. Speaking of the box, it's going to come with the tool you need to mount it, your necessary hardware, a lens cloth, some directions, and a battery. So nothing special, typical stuff there. But when I took it out of that box, I have butterfingers and I dropped it in my kitchen floor. And one of the first things that I noticed was, damn, that sounded really stout. It sounded heavy, chunky. So I picked it back up and I was like, wow, this thing feels really well built. And I got to looking through some of the specs, and the housing is actually 7075 T6 aluminum, which is a pretty strong material. If you trust AR-15s, you trust that material. Look up why if you don't know. But anyways, and it has the shake awake feature, which I have tested. I've laid it where I can see through the optic. Watched after 5 minutes exactly, it will kick off. Picked it up, comes right back on. So that feature works. It continued to work. It has the side tray, kind of like the Holosuns do, that you take out, put your battery in, put it back in, so you don't have to unmount the optic to change your battery. And when I put the battery in it, it don't come in it. You have to put the battery in it. I noticed that the rubber seals around all that were really good quality. Everything felt tight. Everything fit snug when I put the tray back in. And the screws are not little teeny tiny dainty little things like the Holosun screws are. You can actually get a decent screwdriver in there, and you're not going to strip them out. I don't have to worry about that. It's actually decent sized screws. So those little teeny tiny little pinhead screws that Holosuns have. It does have the RMR footprint. Now, one of the main features that I like, and it's hard to show a reticle on camera. I'm trying to right now. You can see it the best you can. But inside the pamphlet here, it gives a really good example. It is a multi-reticle optic, so you can have the dot and the circle. The dot is a 2 MOA dot, and the circle is a 32 MOA circle. You can have just the circle, or you can have just the dot. And how you cycle through those is with your up and down buttons on the side here. So let me swear to it. I think it's a hold feature. So if you hold the front button, it'll go, you can turn it off. If you hold the brightness up button, I believe it's the brightness down button that cycles you through the different reticles. Yes. So it goes from the circle and dot to just the dot, then to just the circle, and then we'll hold it again, and we have the circle and the dot back. So really not hard to operate. Your typical up and your windage, your elevation, windage adjustments. Now, when I zeroed this in, I did take the liberty to do that before this video. I have shot this optic some. That's how I've already developed my opinion on it that I'm giving you guys right now. But I did notice when I was adjusting the sights, the manual claims 1 MOA clicks. I didn't feel any clicks, which not a big deal on a pistol optic. It is what it is. It sighted in really easy. When I moved it up, the point of impact went up. When I moved it right, I think it's what it was, it went right. And I was shooting low left, so I was double questioning myself, is this me or is this the optic being off? Because low left, typically the shooter. But it was the optic. I just mounted it. I got it sighted in now. So if I shoot low left now, it's my fault. But anyways, I really like this thing. And you know, one of my issues with red dots to begin with is coming up and finding the dot. It's a training issue, 100% a training issue, and it's not one that I'm willing to put a whole lot of time and effort into. I've trained with irons my whole life, and it just feels natural for me. Now, having that 32 MOA circle changes things, because if I come up and I'm even off a little bit, I may not see the center dot, but I can see either one of the down legs, the right legs, whatever. I lost my paper here, but it has little legs on the bottom and sides of the circle on the top as well. You'll see one of them somewhere and you immediately know where your dot is and you can make your little adjustment. But having that big circle changes things. I don't have to just find that little dot. So I don't have a problem coming up and finding my sight with this one. I will not run another pistol optic that doesn't have that larger circle. If it's just a dot, I'm not going to run it anymore. It's too much. This makes things way more natural without all the training. So let's just shoot it some. So real quickly before we get started here, this does have 9 daylight brightness settings and 2 night vision settings. As far as the brightness and the star bursting, on a day like today, kind of overcast, the brightest setting is a bit too bright. But I noticed the other day when I was out shooting it and the sun was out, the brightest setting was still very, very usable, but it wasn't too bright. But on an overcast day, the highest setting is a bit bright. And I'll say this, I have found a setting that I can see well during daylight, normal daylight. And then when I go in the house in a lot lower light, it's still very, very usable. But if you have your brightness up too high in a dark room, there is some star bursting that comes from the reticle, which that's pretty common. If your reticle is too bright, you're gonna have that. But I have found a setting that works well in bright daylight and works well in a dimly lit room without having to adjust it. And whatever setting you're on when it goes into sleep mode, that's what setting you're gonna get when it comes back. So. One miss. There is no questioning whether a red dot on a pistol is a force multiplier. It most definitely is. It's going to make you shoot more accurately. It's going to make you shoot better at distance. It's going to be a force multiplier. But if you can't find the dot when you come up and you need it, that's a problem. That's going to be a big problem if you really, really need it. And that's what I really like about this reticle. I'll not have another one that doesn't have that style reticle. All right, let's just see. I think that's it. There it is. 12-inch plate, 80 yards. Let's just see. Three out of 5. The first one was definitely me. I pulled the shot, but it makes it so much easier to go up there. Let's see if I can hit that round. Give myself a couple shots here. I had all my big targets, my big animal targets set up. We had big high winds the other day. And I'll be dang if they didn't blow my steel targets over, and my fat hind end's too lazy to go up there and pick them back up. Haha, think I can get that little chicken. The chicken lives. You know, I was going to beat on this thing and thump around on it and show you how tough it was, but then I got to thinking, what am I going to do to this thing that's more violent than the slide reciprocating under recoil? But it is YouTube, so. Yeah, she took a good little lick there. Don't know if that was more violent than recoil or not, but let's see if we got a point of impact shift. Going to say not. y'all be sure to go over and check out Vetter Holsters. They're a big sponsor of the channel, help me out quite a bit, so y'all get over there and help them out as well. Here's one of their outside the waistband models. Awesome design. They have about any design you can think of. They're also one of the few companies that I've seen making holsters like this with the claw attachment inside the waistband model that fits the Glock 29 and the 10mm versions of the XDMs. So if you have a gun, they probably make a holster for it. Check out Vetter Holsters. And while we're at it, I gotta mention Target Sports. They just became a sponsor of the channel. If you shoot very much throughout the year, their Ammo Plus membership is well worth it. It'll pay for itself in the year's time if you shoot very much at all. So be sure to go check out Target Sports. Their link is below. So overall impressions, as you can tell, I really like this optic. And I have to say, I was a little bit skeptical when they reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to take a look at it, because I'd never heard of this company before. And then once I got it and I checked it out, started messing with it, yeah, these guys, they hit it out of the park. The price point on this, their website lists at like $199, but their website doesn't have them in stock at all right now. So I don't know what the price is going to be when they come back in stock, if that was old price, whatever, but just think around the $200 ballpark. And I'm going to tell you right now, I have a Hex red dot optic that's around that same mark, actually a little higher according to their website by Springfield. And that optic does not hold a candle to this optic. Just going to tell you right up front, I don't like that optic. It does not even sniff this optic. So if it was between those two, it's a no-brainer for me. This optic is absolutely doing it. Well, that's what I got for you today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Please hit my sponsors up down below. They give the channel a good little boost. And if I do have a Patreon, so if you want to support me that way, you can go over there and join Patreon, get some videos earlier, come out a couple weeks earlier, some behind the scenes content, get to have a little input on what videos I shoot, stuff like that. So if you want to support the channel, there are ways to do it. But until next time, guys, stay tuned.